my name is Fatunla, and I began my cartooning career in Nigeria, drawing cartoons. As you can see in the background, there's a sort of drawings I've been drawing through the years. And I worked for Nigerian newspapers like The Punch, Daily Times, Nigerian Herald, Evening Times, Lagos Weekend, and some other newspapers like that in Nigeria, local and national as well. And I ended up, I think my career changed when my career just went through the roof when I started drawing the Omaba cartoons at the back of the Punch newspapers then. But there was one thing I needed to do myself. No one had to tell me, but I needed plan B. And plan B was to not just to draw, but to have a good education. And that's when I went to America to learn how to better myself in drawing cartoons. I love English language very much, and I'm able to use that to make good use of it in my drawings as well, and in terms of communication. And that's, well, like I said, I just needed plan B, and plan B was to have a good education to better myself in drawing. And through the years, I've worked in Nigeria. I relocated to London, where I drew for West Africa magazine. I was a resident cartoonist for 10 years. I drew for African Concord in London as well. So I've had a vast experience in drawing. And after West Africa, I went freelance, and I went to a different level as well. Freelancing, because it was after the demise of West Africa magazine that I realized that my work could take me places. So my first festival ever, I didn't even know there were like cartoon festivals until I was invited to Finland, in Helsinki, to do an exhibition on Taios, Nigeria, which featured cartoons I've done about Nigeria. Mind you, if I must say, even though I'm based in the UK, I still draw from an African perspective. And one thing would always lead to another. And this is for artists who are out there or aspiring artists who are out there, that one thing will always lead to another. If you're good, then other people will approach you for various other ideas as well. And so all you have to do is live up to the challenge or challenges as to whatever comes your way and see what you can do. But you must also be a good businessman. Why do I say businessman? That if there's a reason why you cannot do a job, you can always take on that job. And your clients have discussed with you what their ideas are, and you just table the ideas to any other artist or cartoons that can assist you whilst you're doing other projects at the same time. But the whole concept of your client must still be there. And that's why when they come to me, I have to put everything in place. Even as we're speaking, I've got artists in Nigeria working for me. I have my layouts, and I just give it to them. I say, I just want you to tidy it up for me, because it's not that I can't do these drawings. Well, I just have so much to do that I need help. Well, I need assistance. But in doing that, I'm so happy to be able to get other artists around the world and make some extra income from the jobs I get. So that's what I do. That's what I've been doing through the years. And now I'm working on, in fact, I'm working on animation. I'm working on 2 more books to produce. And I've, speaking of awards, I've won awards in France, in Egypt, in America, and some other countries. I can't remember some of them. France. I've won twice in France, I think. Yes, twice in France, and in America. And but I don't dwell on awards. I dwell on what brings the awards, and those are my drawings. And my drawings have done very well from that. When I get the awards, I'm just always encouraged to do more. I'm also encouraged by you interviewing me to even do more. Each time I have this opportunity comes my way, it's of great encouragement to me to do more and better myself in what I do.
Well, thank you, Taya. I guess I think one thing that struck me, actually 2 things that struck me, is the business-minded approach. And I don't think we as authors tend to collaborate in terms of projects. Yes, we might come together as anthologies. Maybe that's something we need to look into. But we don't also look at things from a business perspective in terms of engaging other people. So maybe that's a challenge for us. But also the fact that you've got projects out there in the UK, but you're engaging artists in Nigeria. I think that's extremely impressive and encouraging as well. So that's probably why you're the person that's being interviewed for the inaugural workshop of the Association of Children's Authors and Illustrators of Nigeria. Interesting. I didn't know that at all. I had no idea.
Yeah, I do that. I do that, and I think going to festivals around the world prior to COVID, I probably would have gone to. There was plans for me to visit 4 different countries last year, but because of COVID, I couldn't go. So we had to resort to going online. But in my traveling, when I go to workshops or festivals, what I get to see lots of young aspiring artists come around to me and to get some inspiration from our work, which they've seen through the years, and be able to find out how they can break into the world of art, cartoons, illustrations, comic art. So with a bit of advice and I advise them a lot as to what to do. And at the same time, I use that opportunity to take notice of works of artists and see who can at any given time will be able to assist me when I need their help. If you look at great artists of yesteryears, they didn't work alone. You may think, oh, they did a lot, but they needed assistance. For instance, and through my training, I've been able to understand the tricks, and I won't call it tricks, the styles and techniques of the trade. And,
well, that question is coming up in a minute. You don't want to give us the answers yet.
So that's very important too. I'll talk to that. I'll talk to you about that later. But that's what the thing is. Like, I like engaging with the young artists and upcoming artists. I've seen artists go through me from Cameroon, from America.
Wow.
And they say thank you for giving us work to do. But most importantly, they're able to use my name on their CVs to say they've worked with me, and that helps a lot. And I know successful artists that have gone through me. Your up and coming artists have gone through me.
Wow, amazing. I'm just going to go straight into the question number 1 that I have for you. So, how are picture book illustrations different from all other forms of illustrations, specifically children's picture book illustrations?
The illustrations, images, two things capture the imagination. 2 of many things that I know of capture the imagination of children when it comes to books. One is images. Another the use of colors, and I think I can add a third one to it is animals. Animals inspire children. Colors inspire not animals seeing animals, even wild animals, the way children will love animals in books, that captures their imagination. So does the use of colors, bright colors. Even when artists are working with me, I say, my style of work, it must be bright. If I insist, up till this morning, I've been going through what someone in Nigeria has been. 2 people actually in Nigeria have been working on for me, because they're 2 different projects. So because of their styles and techniques, I'm able to know which one would flow in line with what I do, and I have to keep on telling them, do these corrections, do these corrections, but they don't do it grumbling. Or one said it's getting stressful, but yes, that's being when you're working with Tayo, it's probably going to be stressful. But what comes out of it is a good thing, and I want to ensure that anyone I'm working for and loves what I've presented them. So that's why I was soliciting for their assistance and to help them as well and boost their own morale and encourage them to. Because what I don't want to do, I hope I'm answering the question. I hope I'm not deviated from the question. But what I don't want to do.
The reason why I'm laughing is I'm glad that I'm not the only one that can give stress.
Well, you gave me stress when you gave me. I was traveling. Even in my travels, it's like, oh my gosh, she's after me again. But that's the thing. That's the good thing about it, that we shouldn't even call it a stress. Even though I was just using the phrase, the word stress. Those are challenges you have to overcome. When an athlete is running or a hurdler is running, he or she would have to jump hurdles to get to the end of the race. But if you can't go over those hurdles, then you're going to lose out. So hurdles are like challenges in your way. You have to find a way of doing and sorting it and getting to the end of it, because there's a saying that there's a race saying, but I've forgotten how it goes again. But it's very important to run the race and also win the race. So you must overcome challenges, and challenges. Some works some projects are more challenging than others, and if you're not into the minds of your client, the author, or whoever gives you work to do, or the companies, or whoever gives you work to do, if you're not taking in their thoughts, then you will struggle with it, and that's very important. Well, I am the type. I wouldn't say I'm the type. I would rather say that most challenges, when I face challenges, I face challenges maybe now and then, because people already know me and they know that I can deliver much more than they are asking. Much more than they're asking for. And also, when you're commissioned to do something, and you as an illustrator are able to explain why you have arrived at this composition of this visual or that visual. If you're an artist that cannot talk back or give a reason, look at it this way. You go to a gallery, you see a painting, and the artist who did the painting is there. What happens? You stand by the painting, and the artist will describe to you, will explain to you how he or she arrived at the painting and what inspired them. So as an artist, you must be able to give something back to the author to say, this is the reason I'm doing this for you. That's the reason I'm doing that for you. Because through the years, I've used my experiences in the world of art has taught me to be able to convince authors or clients as to why I have arrived, as I said, because most times I see beyond the authors and what the author is thinking of, what the clients are thinking of. Because with books, they must be sellable. So you cannot, and like I say, there's a saying that says, don't judge a book by its cover. But I would reverse it and say, yes, you can judge a book by the cover, because if a child picks up a book from the library or from the bookshop, if the cover is nothing to write home about, they will not show any interest. But in addition to the images on the cover, they can go to the back of the book and look at the blurb at the back of the book to see how it tallies with the illustration on the cover. And that's why it's important. Going back, and that's why it's important for a book cover to be very sellable. I remember that word very much from my school. Sellable means something that will make your work sell. So that's why my books and books I've done for other people, they're always bright. the brightness of the colors, they're always bright and lively. And that also shows you exactly like that. Snowy Joy, which I did for you. Woohoo!
You haven't
the
told me
Snowy
about the
Joy cover.
outcome of that workshop you did with the children, because that's another, it's not one of my
Which
questions.
yeah,
The workshop. I didn't plan to
yeah.
ask this question, but one of the things that always comes to mind for me was my inspiration. My inspiration actually didn't come from an author, it came from an illustrator. I don't know if you know Quentin Blake. Do you know? Do you
Of
know
course,
about Quentin? You must do because you work with
I've never
books. You
met.
work in a library.
I've never. Yes.
I've met him.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, he came.
I've met Jacqueline Wilson,
Oh, okay
Mallory
then.
Blackman, and
Okay
someone
then.
called Sade Fadipe. I've met them all.
You know, I used to work at Nunhead, which is not far from your library.
Oh, really? Which one is
Yes,
that? Nunhead?
Nunhead, Ivydale.
Ivydale, the school. Oh no,
Yes.
the Learning
The
Center,
school, the
is it?
school, the school,
The
the
school,
actual
the
school. I
Ivydale
taught
school.
there for
Yeah.
7 years. And
Really?
yeah,
Wow, that's
yeah,
impressive. Wow,
yeah.
that's good.
And
That's
Quentin
good.
Blake came in once and I
Came
thought,
there.
gosh, he draws like he draws stick men and stick people, but
Yes.
his
Yeah. Yeah.
lyrics, and I just kind of like
Yeah.
fell in love. And I think he's
Yeah.
probably one of the people that kind of inspired me, even though I wasn't thinking of becoming a writer, but just meeting
Yeah.
him. And it's
Yeah.
amazing what that kind of
I believe he did most of Roald Dahl's books covers, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. He's
Quentin
quite
Blake, yeah.
I mean, and you can see within his own, because he's also an author. He writes his
Yeah.
own stories. And
Mm.
I was just mesmerized when I met him.
Mm.
And the fact
Yeah.
that his drawings were so simple, but he was winning awards here and there. And
Yeah. Yeah.
and what I was going to say about that is one of the things that I know you do is work with children. You show them,
That's right.
not
Yeah, I
only
do.
do you read and you work in a library, you
Mm-hmm.
share stories, because that's where we
Yeah.
met.
Yeah. Yeah.
Remember? That's where we met.
I like the greatest joy I've had in life, in my career, is to be able to have the opportunity to work in libraries, and in doing that, I get to meet authors. My knowledge about books is vast, and also I'm able to use references for my work as well. And not only that, I also work with children. I do cartoon workshops. I do various events based around cartoons. So I went in there to meet people and help them out with their needs in the libraries. But I'm most times doing creative work for them, and once they knew that I was an artist, and I ended up doing much more than just being in the library. That has really helped me a lot in opening doors for me. I'm working for various departments as well.
Look at that. And because you're
sometimes, if you don't mind,
that's okay. It's okay. Okay.
When I went into the library, that was after West Africa, so I needed to do something. But when I was at West Africa magazine, I wasn't just drawing for West Africa magazine. I wasn't just drawing the magazine covers. I wasn't just drawing cartoons. I was also a picture researcher. So all the pictures that went into the magazine for 10 years, where I would fetch them from around the world, from Canada, from America, to go into the papers, which obviously we had to pay for. The magazine had to pay for. So that really helped me to take me a step further to work in the library. So that was what I fell back on to be able to get into libraries, and because I wanted to do. And prior to that, and prior to getting to the libraries, I also had it was so funny that prior to getting to libraries, my books were in the libraries before I got there. Because my first book of Black history, which was published by The Voice, was in the libraries already.
Wow.
So to go back there and go on the shelves and see my book was like, wow, that's nice. I like that. But one thing I like about libraries is libraries inspires me in terms of drawing, visuals, workshops, participating in events. Anytime there's an event, they want me to be part of it, because they know that I can bring in children to libraries. And also
Yes.
in storytelling as well. I love storytelling. I like telling children stories as well. And that has really, really helped me
You're
a
just a
lot. So
man of all parts, really, aren't you?
at
Anything
this
to do with
juncture,
books, anything to do with books and children, you're the man
yes,
to be in touch with. It's
yeah,
amazing. But what I was
yeah. At
going
this
to
juncture,
ask, though,
yeah,
sorry,
yeah. Go on.
what I was going to
Okay,
say,
yeah,
though, is probably
yeah.
the opportunity that our illustrators and artists in Nigeria have not yet had is that connection with children and schools. I
Yeah,
remember when I asked my dear Shadrach to show me, some pictures of the process when you're doing this so that I can share your profile with schools. I kind of think he kind of thought, I think there's something that needs to happen. So this journey of ACAIN is going to be an interesting one where authors and
yeah,
illustrators start to see themselves as working together, which directly leads
exactly.
me to my next question, which I had planned for, which says,
Yeah.
what reservations or suspicions my authors and illustrators have towards each other?
Um, how would I answer that one? That's an interesting question.
Let me tell you the
Um,
reason why I said this. Let me give you an
I'm
example.
listening. Okay, I'm
So, for
listening.
instance, I don't know if you know about the Caldecott Awards.
Yeah,
You've
I
heard
usually
about
see that
it.
at the back of books. Yeah,
Yes.
go on. Tell me
That
more.
is the equivalent of the Newbery Award, which was founded in 1934, I believe, and it's the first
Yeah.
major children's book awards that was,
Mm-hmm.
that was established. And income that
Yeah.
so the equivalent of that for the artist is the Caldecott Awards. And so when
Okay.
one of my books was nominated as one of the 10 books for the
Oh, okay.
Caldecott Awards, um,
Oh, wow.
I thought, oh wow, fantastic! Oh, my book, and then I realized actually the Caldecott is just equivalent. So the newbie is
Mm.
for the authors, the Caldecott is for the illustrators. So
Yeah.
I could have kept that to myself. Okay then, but I had to share it, and I had to say, look, this
Yeah.
is how good your work is. And so when we started working on the second book, I had to say, look, you've got a reputation to live up to. This is not, you need to step up now. You're no longer at
Yeah.
that level. You've been nominated, so you need to
Yeah.
step up.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
straight away, it's almost like, especially with picture books, the
Mm.
lyrics,
Mm.
the text and the
Mm.
illustrations are almost like a
Mm.
package, aren't they, really?
Of course. Of course.
What
Yeah.
would you
Yeah.
say?
Yeah. I quite agree with you. There's nothing as good as teamwork when it comes to working on projects. That's very essential. If you want to, if a president wants to run a country, he needs lots of advisors and other ministers to work with so that they can run the country effectively. That's the same as publishing a book or being part, working together and to bring out a product. You have to work as a team to be able to do that. You can be the main guy in the project, but you still have to work with others. You have to work with someone who's going to proofread the book. You have to work with someone who's going to do the text in the book.
Sure.
You have to also work with the printer to ensure that what you've produced comes out the way you want it to. Because
Very
most
true.
times when projects get to the printers, they tend to be distorted a bit because they are not artists. They don't have the mind you have as to how you want that project, then that project what you want the finished end of the project to be. So you have to work together, and I believe we did a lot with your Snowy Joy book to be able to get a very good end result, which people are
Certainly.
so happy about, and that's very important. Also, if you're good in what you do, people will be willing to work with you
Sure.
because working with you is, but for people to want to work with you, it means you're indirectly inspiring them already, without you knowing that you're doing that. How many times have I seen someone in America? How many times have I seen someone from Kenya say, "Oh, when I was young, I was reading your up to, I mean, when the opportunity arises,
Amazing.
people are always saying, "Oh, We loved your cartoons when you were in Nigeria.
Wow.
We loved your cartoons. And lots of, not just, and this is it, not just Nigerians. There are lots of people all around Africa who love my work, who want to work with me.
Amazing.
And when you get to that stage, then you're able to work with other people as well to inspire them and to bring them to the level where you want them to be. Because, for instance, in Nigeria, there's when it comes to drawing, I don't know if it's the system. I don't know if it's the socio-economic situation of the country.
Okay.
The artists are very relaxed. They're not very. I remember in Nigeria, I was very outgoing. When I was doing cartoons, mobile cartoons, I would go to nightclubs, I would go here and there. People were just, I was using my fame to get into places I never would have got into.
Wow.
But through that, but apart from that, people saw how lively I was. Even someone was telling me just last week that he remembers how lively I was, even when I was at Punch, and then I was very lively, that nothing would upset me. He never saw me get angry and whatnot. If you're not an outgoing person, and if you're not knowledgeable about things going on around you, then you'll be you'll be a struggle for you to draw. And also, the system, if it allows for you to interact with children the way it should be, then it becomes easier for you to interact with them, and then let them appreciate what you do in schools and libraries or wherever you go to. So I believe that working together is very essential. But personally, I got to a stage where I could not go it alone. I just wanted assistance here and there. And like I said, I'd rather be I'm like an entrepreneur, whereby I get the job, get the business. Because first of all, in school, apart from learning how to draw, one thing I came out of my school, which was was the Keyboard School of Cartoon and Graphic Art in New Jersey, was business of art.
Wow.
There's no point drawing if you don't have a business acumen. Because I have artists who will ask me, who will call me, how much should I charge for this job? How much should I charge for that job? So I help them out and tell them what they should do. And they always get good results based on that. And that's so I've got to a stage whereby people come to me to ask for advice as to how much they want. They don't want to charge less, and they don't want to overcharge themselves. So I give them an idea of how to
go about it,
arrive at, and that's always fine by them. So this is very important that artists in Nigeria as well should not just, everything about them should not be me, myself, and I. An artist or a young up-and-coming artist should be inspired by someone, by an artist, artist or comic artist or graphic artist. You must have a mentor. If you don't have a mentor, you will struggle.
I think you're going to have a lot of mentors now, Taya.
Oh, that's
a lot of people to mentor, really. Mentees.
Well, maybe through workshops. That's fine. Yeah, no worries.
Sure.
That's fine. But you must have a mentor. And when I was growing up, I would go to houses of cartoonists and artists, stay with them, admire how they arrived at the works I saw in newspapers. Because I will always see their cartoons in newspapers. So I found out the process of getting those cartoons published, and I also found out the process of drawing cartoons, because I was actually live with the artist who was drawing at his drawing table, and those things that looked so little actually inspired me to be able to do the same thing as well. So through the years, I've inspired, and there's no end to it. If any new artist comes around, if they can inspire me, because no matter how old you are, you learn.
Keep learning.
You keep learning. You embrace new ideas. And I had to embrace technology, because all these bits about technology and softwares and computers and whatnot wasn't there when I started off in drawing black and white.
Very true. When it came
along, I had to embrace that.
Very true.
Move forward as well. And it's just like a musician, like the likes of Michael Jackson or Madonna. They were always reinventing themselves because they were moving with times. I always tell, when I do my workshops, And I always tell artists, I said, aspiring artists, I said, you have to move with time. If you don't move with the time will leave you behind. You understand?
Wow.
Move with
Wow.
time. If not, the time will leave you behind. So
Wow.
you reinvent yourself, think of new ideas, think of new innovation. Now, for instance, because of our COVID, I mean, right as the pandemic started, I was at the school teaching cartoon workshops at the school, not knowing that it will be my last for over a year now. It's been my last
Wow.
going into school,
Into
going
schools.
to schools to
Yeah.
teach cartoon
It hit
workshops.
us all.
It did. But what happened? Then I had to rethink of how to present my workshop.
Yeah.
And I started going onto Zoom, and having web cartoon workshops, and I found that it's even paying off because I don't have to travel anywhere now to do my workshop in a classroom, because they'll have a large screen in the classroom, large screen in the classroom, and I'll project whatever I'm presenting from my home into the classroom.
Amazing.
And I did that recently. So I did that with the American University of Rome.
Okay.
The American University of Rome, that's right. Because the students were art students in Rome. They're still art students in Rome. But I sat in my home and I spoke to them about Black history, about my drawings on Black history. And I could not believe, well, it was interesting to see the giant screen and see myself on the giant screen, knowing fully well that I wasn't in Italy, I was in the UK, and looking at myself
changed.
lecturing the students about art and my drawings, So that in the last 1 year has changed how I do things. And like I said, I'm working on also animation, my drawing on Black history, which is very popular. I got a life achievement award for that, for drawing over 30 years of drawing Black heroes and educating many about the achievements of Black heroes. So these things are very important, that you move with times. I'm always exploring new ideas. I'm always trying out new mediums. If I go into an art store, I can buy new materials to use for my work. Even children will ask me, or aspiring artists will ask me, what sort of material should we use? I have to tell them, use this or use that. For instance, if I have a pen, this is a pen. I'm not sure you can. That's my pen there. Yeah, this one. If it's not a waterproof pen, I will not use it.
Okay.
It's got to be permanent ink. It's got to be permanent ink.
Permanent ink.
So if any liquid pours over your work, you can still salvage it because you've used permanent ink. But if you use a waterproof, it will just smudge it and just mess up your work. So these are little things like that that matter in explaining to aspiring artists how to go about using their tools, or tools of the trade, as I call it, to draw their cartoons or do any work of theirs.
Do you know what, Mr. Fatunla? I think that there's a lot of work for you to do in helping us achieve global standards. So when you look at picture books, I don't know how many picture books you've come across by our indigenous picture books. Yes.
I've seen a few.
Okay, a few.
I've seen a few.
How do we attain global standards? How do you think? Because you've embraced and you've lived and you've walked in these libraries and you've been surrounded by high quality books. How do you think, as Nigerian authors and illustrators, we can attain global standards such that our work is accepted anywhere in the world?
I usually say, now, for instance, this organization which you're setting up is
Association of Children Authors and Illustrators of Nigeria. I may not be pronouncing it properly, but it's ACAIN.
ACAIN. ACAIN. That's nice. ACAIN is, just like ACAIN.
And hopefully you're gonna sign up and be a member.
I will, definitely. I was going to say that I'm a member of the politicalcartoons.com in America.
Okay.
I'm a member of Cartoon Movement in Netherlands.
Okay.
I'm a member of
Wow.
France Cartoons in France.
Okay.
I'm a member of various, I've forgotten the other names now. I'm a member and I've just joined, I just signed a contract with newzealand.com to do cartoons for them. So why am I listing these names? That if you want to go far, you need to join an organization like ACAIN to be able to bring in work for you and give you the recognition that you need. And organizations like ACAIN, and there's also Cartoonist Association of Nigeria, of which I am a member. And by being a member, I've been able to see works of other artists, and through that's the medium I use in getting some of them to work for me, because I just don't. I like scouting for new ideas and people who can who I can work for, and I don't like putting all my eggs in one basket, because some artists can disappoint you.
Very
Then
true.
then I have to move on to someone else to assist, because in my mode of work I need assistance from time to time, because I do lots of work. I do lots of other things as well that that are very creative. And I like to ensure that if I take on this job, I want to ensure that other artists are able to benefit from it. So an organization like ACAIN is very important to join, and I implore artists, and I'm wondering how many you would take on board as illustrators and artists. Some could be writers. Are you going to have writers as well, or are they just going to be
yeah, I mean, if someone draws and writes their own content, why not? But my question, the question that I actually omitted, quite relevant now, is can any illustrator be a picture book illustrator? Can any illustrator be a children's book illustrator? And I'll say this because content is important. Profiles are important. Some people may just be illustrators of the page 3 for the page 3 kind of content. So the question, can every illustrator be a children's book illustrator? And what measures do we need to put in place? Because think about how you work with schools and all that. Think about all the safeguarding issues that come with that. And that's why I'm posing this question. Can every illustrator be a children, or are there certain things that you need to consider before saying, oh yes, I can illustrate for children? Are there certain things that you need to consider about your persona, your profile, your lifestyle? Because you don't want to mix the two up.
I think you have to be any successful, for instance, with musicians. That's why they have what's it called, like X Factor and Britain's Got Talent and The Voice. You know, there are lots of scouters out there looking for artists to work for them. But your work must appeal to them for them to be able to approach you. Because if you approach any publisher, they might put your work amongst many others. So you more or less joining the queue as to hoping that your work will be noticed, and then you get work to do. But the best way to go about it is to continue doing what you do, not for money. Be happy with it, and then as time goes on, if, like I said, if someone wants to be an illustrator, wants to draw for books,
children's books,
they must join ACAIN. And if they want to draw children's books as well, don't just draw children's books for drawing children's books' sake. Go out there and look at how children's picture books are. When you approach me with your book, I had to take my time to go into libraries. We agreed on the size, we agreed on the colors, we agreed on the contents, we did changes here and there. These are the things that will make it work. But I myself, when you approached me, I had to go look for books similar to what you wanted to have published, and also did a bit of investigation as to what sort of books can do well in the libraries. And I found out that if the books are very tiny, they can get lost amongst many
True.
other books.
Very true.
But if your book is rather big, not too big, most times the best books for babies and toddlers under 5 are large picture books. Correct, exactly. The bigger they are, the better. And because this one that you're showing, A Visit to Grandad book, an African ABC, is good if you're reading to a group of children of about 15 to 20 to 30. But at the same time, if you have a smaller book, it will be lost amongst other books. Other books will just, what's the word for it? Cover it up. Nobody's going to pay attention to it. So it's very important to have a book big enough for children to take from the libraries. I've seen children go into the libraries, they rush to where the books are, and they start pulling out books. If the book you publishing or you've published is so small, that will be the last book that the child will pull out from the shelves or from
big
the
and
Kinder
bold.
boxes.
Big and bold.
Big and bold. And also the nice picture books I would recommend would be with perfect binding, which is perfect binding is having an edge to the side of the book where you have the author's name on it.
Okay.
I think yours do.
Yeah.
You have that on yours as well.
There.
Let's show.
Spine. You call it spine.
A spine.
A spine. Yeah.
But the printers call it perfect binding because that's where when a book is perfect bound, it means exactly. Yeah. And that's very important as well. So you can also have the title and author's name of the book on the spine itself.
Yes, the spine.
Without pulling out the book, you're able to know what the title of the book is before you pull out the spine. Yeah. Very important.
We've got so much to learn from you, Mr. Fatunla. So much in terms of not just your artistic flair, but just that wealth of knowledge in terms of quality. And I think probably we need to carry on this conversation even beyond here, because quality, we want our books to be in Nigeria. We also want Nigerian books to be with us across the world. So that quality is important. We need to get to that stage where I can just say to any school, look, we've got a whole bunch of books from authors from Nigeria. They are quality, they are sound, and they meet all global standards. And this is what this association is about. It's about quality and standards. So and
I also want to say that aspiring illustrators should just be patient and take their time as well.
Yes.
And observe and study as well. I've had artists work with me who are in a hurry to charge the way I charge for my work.
Okay.
And I told them that they'll say, Tayo, we know, but who are you? What does that mean? That you have to make a name for yourself.
Oh.
And also, if, for instance, let me just use you as an example. You are an up-and-coming illustrator, or you've done some few illustrations. All right, we know Sade has done a few illustrations. But Tayo, we've seen through the years. If Tayo says, this project is going to cost £300, Sade's not going to charge £300. They'll say, Tayo, we know. Even before I charge, people say, we want you to do some work for us, but you're likely to be expensive.
I've been there.
You're likely to be expensive. Look at it. It means that they see me as a professional to be thinking that even before they ask for the price of a project, they think I'll be expensive.
We're already afraid. Yes.
So what, in essence, what I'm saying is that don't. If you look at five fingers. They're not equal,
Mm.
but everyone gets there at a different time, and that's very important. Slow and steady wins the race. I mean, people want to be, and I think the world has made people and the youths want to make money or be successful overnight.
Mm.
But I went through it the hard way by working hard, no internet at those times, clutching my portfolio and my drawings, taking it to a publisher somewhere in the city to have my drawings published. You know,
Wow.
I've gone through that I've gone through that, taking my drawings to New African Magazine in the city. But now I don't even have to leave my house before I send the drawings to them. So I had to embrace technology to be able to send my drawings to publishers and authors, and that has been a good thing because that has allowed me to keep my originals as well.